Hello people, give me a second to get set up here. I figured I'd do a live stream of Legend of Zelda. Considering it's now the 40th anniversary. And of course this channel being Gen X focused, and I apologize for my voice. If you've seen any videos on my channel, you'd see I just got back from Vegas to watch Def Leppard at the residency at Caesar's Palace. And of course I'm sick. I've been sick for a week, so I'm a little stuffed up. I'm getting over it. So I figured I'd do a live stream here for maybe 30 minutes of Zelda, give this a try, see how it goes, and talk about Zelda and the Nintendo and gaming. Because I've done 11 Atari videos now. And of course, the Nintendo is kind of the big one that I want to move to next, because Nintendo came out in '85 and I got it right away. So I probably got it Christmas of 1985. I was the first person anywhere in my area of friends that had it. And it wasn't because we had money or anything. I mean, we were absolutely dirt poor living in apartments. But there was a lot of kids around me my age and around my age who were interested in playing on the Nintendo. Most of them had Ataris at that point, because of course Atari, we got our first Atari in 1980, so we still had it. So we had the Atari sitting there for 5 years at that point. Probably got it Christmas 1980, 1970. No, it would have been Christmas of 1980, so right before 1981. And I've made some Atari videos of the games we were playing back then that might interest you on this channel. So to Zelda, Zelda came out in what, 87, so it was 2 years after the Nintendo. Alright, let's go in here and register. So by then there had been a lot of Nintendo games out. I had a decent number of Nintendo games. I'll name myself what I probably named myself back then, if I could figure this out. So I mean, at this point, I was when I got the Nintendo, I would have been 12, and so when I got Zelda, I would have been 14. So as a typical Gen Xer, I would have probably named myself Vader, which I did back then a lot. It's all right. So we'll start. I'll start playing this and just talk about this, and just go where we go, and maybe be silent at times. We'll see how it goes. But this game, when it came out, if you're not a Gen Xer, if you're older, you were probably not into games, which means you were a boomer. Oh, my sword's not working. How's that? Oh, I gotta get it. And if you're younger, it's still kind of very interesting history as to what we, the first really Gen X. I'm an older Gen Xer, so we were the first generation that grew up with gaming, right? The Atari 2600 came out in 1980. I was, I was 7. This, I was 12. And then we got our first Commodore 64 soon after, sometime in 85, 86. So I had my first computer. It's been a while since I played this. But Zelda here, when it came out, I think I got it pretty quickly because it was already kind of well known. We just went off topic there, but the point was, these games to us, you know, were, like, you take the first Atari games, and you look at them now, and yeah, you can turn it on and in a minute be bored of it today compared to games today. I mean, everyone's used to playing World of Warcraft or MMOs that seem like they're very detailed and complex. Well, this game here, especially when it came out, seemed as to a 12-year-old like it was infinite. Like, it's just shockingly long. You know, you first got that box open, and it was gold. And it had this new technology that we'd never seen before, which saves your game. And you could play it for hours, which was unheard of, right? Most games, those Atari 2600 games, or even Mario was pretty good, right? You could play Mario for quite a long time. But I mean, this game takes several hours to beat. I mean, that was unheard of. That, to us, that was like buying a game today. Let's say I played Baldur's Gate 3 and I put 100-something hours into it, and that seemed like a long time to me playing Baldur's Gate. But as a 12-year-old, when this came out, it was the same kind of feeling. Like, you couldn't believe how long this game lasted. Should probably focus and stop getting hit, but and there was nothing like this. I mean, like Super Mario when it came out, there was nothing like this remotely that came out. The advanced technology, inventory, and things like that, just we couldn't believe it. It was shocking. I'm already gonna die. So at this point, like, this is the first game that gaming had matured enough where gaming had matured enough where even we had access to kind of, right, there's no internet, there's no place to find out any information about games anywhere. You had no idea what you were getting into, especially the Atari 2600, right? If they didn't even put the big pictures of the Atari 2600 games on the box, and unless you knew someone who just happened to have that game and told you about it, which you didn't, you had no idea what you were getting. That's why the Atari 2600 failed, because some of those games were just so shockingly pitiful. But by the Nintendo age, there were magazines out there that you could get information. So this was the first game where I think I had to go look up some stuff, like how to get through the forest. So we had access to little information. You could go to the mall and go to a magazine rack, and there was popular enough magazines at this point to get the information you needed, and get like the map of Zelda to help you get through it. I know I'm actually coming up to one of these more maze type things. I don't remember how to get through it. But this game, I can't explain to you if you're younger, and I don't know how young you could be, but think of if you're a millennial, think of some of the first games you played that just shocked you, like some of my family. It might have been like James Bond. I know my nephew, my wife's family. That kid loved that game so much that he wouldn't go to the bathroom. He'd just pee himself. What was that James Bond game? I forget how weak you are at first. It's kind of odd that you could only save your game when you died. I guess the oops, I didn't mean to do that. I guess my object here at first is to just get coins, because I know I could buy some stuff. I don't remember a lot of where these things are. Oh, there's it's up here if I remember right. But just the detail of this game for 1987 was insane. Like, I can't explain it to you. Think of the first game you played. If you're a millennial and you're in your mid-30s or something, think of the first games you played when you were 10 compared to now. And of course, even by Nintendo, by 87, and I talk about this in my Atari videos, contrary to popular belief, as a Gen Xer, we didn't have a lot of money, and no Gen Xer did. Sure, there were some that did and got whatever they wanted, but I didn't know any of those people. So, you had a couple games and you were rich. And by the Nintendo period, that was still pretty much the case. So I probably had, the Atari probably was, by the time Zelda came out, it was probably in the closet already. Because these games were just so much better. They made Ataris look silly. So, when this came out, I might have had 10 NES games. Okay, what is this one? Is this a dungeon? Is this the first dungeon? But this one, again, this dominated. This game was just shocking. You just couldn't believe it. In the same way, Super Mario was for when Nintendo first came out. Yeah, as a Gen Xer at this point, we've been playing arcade games, and arcade games were starting to advance. Starting in the 70s, as 5, 6 years old, we were playing Space Invaders and Asteroids. Pac-Man came out later. And honestly, the arcade games had not advanced that much. But I was also a big pinball fan, so I was playing a lot of pinballs. That's whenever I could get money, because we didn't have a lot of money. So a lot of it was begging, borrowing, and stealing off the counter, our dad's quarters, to get money to play in the arcade. Which we were lucky. We lived across the street from a grocery store called Thriftway, which always had one game in it, a popular game. They had Asteroids Deluxe, Pac-Man, and all the kids in the whole area would always be there playing. You know, early 80s. There's always, you know, on the floor next to the machine, there's always a bunch of chew from the kids chewing and spitting it on the side. Lucky they didn't take those video games out of that grocery store. Kids would skateboard to the thriftway there to play the arcade games. So I was the first person in my neighborhood to get this, our apartments. And I had a set of friends, and they always wanted to come over and play Super Mario. So I would set up a match for these guys. So we'd have 3 or 4 people over, and each person would pay 10 cents. There'd be 4 people. Each person would pay 10 cents to play one game. And the winner, who got the highest score in Mario, would win 30 cents. And me, as the owner, I'd take 10 cents every single time. And we'd play enough that I'd make 50 cents. And with that 50 cents, I could go over to the thriftway and there's a map, isn't there? And buy that's back when the first 32-ounce soft drinks started coming out for 50 cents at these places, at the 7-Elevens and Minute Marts, and even in this grocery store. So I'd go over and buy a 32-ounce Coke. Little young entrepreneurship. At this point, also, I had a paper route. So you want to know how much a Gen Xer made in 1985, 86 as a paper boy, in a month, working every single day for an hour plus, dragging papers for about 3 miles. I made about $90 a month. And I had a sweet tooth for those. Oh, I got the boomerang. I had a sweet tooth for those 32-ounce soft drinks. So every day after, at the end of my route, there's this massive hill I had to go down. This massive hill I had to go down it and deliver one newspaper and go up to the top. At the top was a Minute Mart. Is the end of the route. And I'd stop and I'd get a 32-ounce drink. So I basically blew my entire month paper out on 32-ounce Cokes. That's how we lived. And I'm 12 to 13 years old at this point. That's the only money I ever got. I mean, I might have got like a $5 allowance. That was Gen X for you. My kids definitely had a different life. My kids are 23 and 25, and they had a much different life than we did. So that's what I was doing with the Nintendo. And so we did that all the time. And eventually they got Nintendo. And we got games like Tecmo Bowl and would play them together. Some other big games I remember on the Nintendo that were fantastic. Just unheard of. You just never. It's crazy how compared to today, how you look back and reminisce about these things. But Metroid. I remember when Metroid came out, that was just unheard of. I like Bomberman. Of course, Super Mario. It's amazing. I haven't played this game in 30 years, yet I still kind of remember some of this stuff. And I only beat this thing a couple times. I don't remember getting the boomerang and bow in the same dungeon. Huh. Soon after I got this Nintendo, I don't know how my mom afforded it, but sometime in '85 or probably '86, my mom was in the need for like a word processor at home, and she was kind of, I mean, she was a secretary, but she was forward thinking, which helped me in my life because I went into IT for 30 years. But she got a deal on like a Commodore 64 with a little color monitor and the floppy drive for $1,000. I mean, back then, $1,000 was probably freaking $3,000 today. I don't know how she afforded it on her salary because we had other things going on in our life, like they were getting divorced. 85. They weren't divorced yet, but you know, I had a typical boomer dad who spent all of our money at the pub, if you know what I mean, and wasn't home much. And I'm sure a lot of Gen Xers can. Oh, I don't have. I think you need to go into that full life so you can hit it with your sword. Right, a lot of Gen Xers can sympathize with me, I think. That's what we had growing up. So somehow we afforded that Commodore 64. And after that, I spent more time on the Commodore 64 than I did on gaming systems, even though, you know, I soon got the Sega Master System because of Phantasy Star. And then the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, the Sega CD for the Genesis. And then I think the next one I got was PlayStation 1. But I was spending more time on the computer, the Commodore 64, and on this channel, I think I'm going to go into the NES, like a lot of the things that we're talking about, creating videos like this, like I did with Atari on NES games. And then I'm going to go heavily into the Commodore 64, which led me to an Amiga in 1991 when I was a senior in high school. The Amiga 500, which didn't last that long before it kind of died. And then I bought my first computer, which was a 386-16SX that I bought the DX chip for. It was the first computer I upgraded because it didn't have a hard drive at first, and I paid $200. This is in 1991, and if you're wondering how much I was making in 1991, I was working at Taco Bell starting in '88 for $3.05 an hour. So when I say I bought a $200 hard drive, you can see how many hours it took to afford a 40 meg hard drive for that 386. And then from there on, up the next 4626, and basically every iteration of Intel thereafter. I spent a lot of money on computers. But I did get the first PlayStation 2. When the PlayStation 3 came out, I mean, this is what, 2008 or something? I ended up having like 3 of them through my house because I was using them for home theater. PlayStation 4, and I haven't bought another console since. Did get Xbox 360 and an Xbox One. But I always kind of like the PlayStation more. So on this channel, I'll eventually go through that on the retro gaming side, because you know, I have a lot of things going on between retro gaming for Gen X, retro music, home theater, media. Oh, where was that? I passed it, didn't I? I'm trying to find that dungeon we just got killed in. But yeah, so back to Zelda. It's the 40th anniversary. I had this thing when it came out. Gold. Box was amazing. That you could save your game. It just never heard of. Just insane. Yeah, now I'm stuck in the loop because I don't remember how to get through this. So you go down 3 times, or is it up 3 times? I should pay more attention and start using my distance sword more, right? Other things I'm working on specifically for Gen X is music. I just posted with Rush touring again. I have I have tickets to 2 shows. I bought original tickets for the California show, and I'm going to take my 2 kids who love Rush. Again, they're 23 and 25. My daughter especially loves Rush, oddly enough. My wife hates Rush. 23, 25. So I just posted a bunch of videos of Rush back for R40. Luckily, the cell phones by then had gotten good enough where they were pretty decent at handling kind of the color video of a concert, which is kind of crazy with its bright lights and darknesses. Luckily, I think I had the Samsung Flip at that point. It did pretty good. For Def Leppard in Vegas, I had a Samsung S25 Ultra that took movie-like photos in those conditions, and the videos are great. I just wish I had taken more. I don't know why I didn't think about it so I could create videos for this channel. Alright. I still can't buy anything. So that's a bigger shield, right? So I should spend some more time trying to get some gems. So I played most Zeldas after this, up to a point. But I think a lot of people would agree that Nintendo is kind of a kid's system. So by as an older Gen Xer, right? I mean, this NES came out when I was, what do I say, 13? Super Nintendo came out when I was in high school, and it was still, I think it still kind of worked for a high schooler. Nintendo 64 came out, I think, when I was either a senior or, I don't remember the year, but I might have been in college, and I bought the Nintendo 64, which I did like. a lot of that is because I know a lot of people like the 3D, but I was at that point a pretty hardcore computer user too, and I liked strategy. Like Civilization 1 had been out for the computer, and it's the complexity of some of the strategy games on the computer. They're still 2D and extremely complex, and the new 3D systems, I think for me there was a period of 10 years on both computer and console where between probably the whole 90s and even some of the early 2000s where 3D just wasn't ready, in my opinion, and the games, just a lot of really crappy games came out that focused on 3D over kind of gameplay. I think there's something here, isn't there? And I didn't like it. I like the more complex strategy. I prefer the advanced two-dimensional games over the 3D games, which I'm thinking about that because I haven't talked about Final Fantasy, right? Because at this time period I was also playing Zelda, the first Final Fantasy games that came to the US in 2D like this. Dragon Warrior games. See, I can't find that. I can't find that dungeon. I just messed it up. And the first 3D games, I hate them. I hate it. They're just clunky. Like Super Mario 64, the first 3D Mario, I did not like that game. I mean, I played it and I beat it, but the clunkiness of it just drove me crazy. And what it ended up taking is the computer. The first, what were they, Voodoo chips? Specifically, video cards started coming out, and I I was buying back then the top of the line video cards like I still do today. I mean, my main PC has an RTX 5090 liquid cooled, and my media PC has my older 4090 liquid cooled in it. And I was doing the same back then, and then you started getting some of the better 3D games, like the first real good ones that shocked me on the computer were Eye of the Beholders in 3D. Yeah, I gotta pull out the map and figure out where I'm going. Because I'm gonna start getting into these harder areas where they're gonna start killing me. Yeah. Huh? I think I remember this. I can't take this yet, can I? Yeah, give me that. But like, so back to Zelda. It's like even today, this game is fun to play. It's just it's amazing for when you actually, like, I mean, I spent 30 years in IT. I graduated with a degree in computer science, which is for us Gen Xers in early 90s. That's the only degree that you could get. So I was coding, started with BASIC, which I learned on my Commodore 64 in the first place. And then I was working for UPS, and they immediately hired me out of college into infrastructure IT. And I never programmed again in my life. I did infrastructure IT, started like everyone else in tier 2 support, fixing people's computers, and and went into data centers when I retired at 48. The last technical gig I had was working as a contractor for the Department of Energy on the West Coast. The Bonneville Power was one of 3 people with SA access to their brand new $100 million data center, and we were building out the VMware, VMware NSX, and Cisco UCS blades, NetApp storage, petabytes worth. I think there was like 500 Cisco blades in the compact data center. So we were responsible for building all the VMware out, and all the hundreds of servers that they were requesting, Windows, Unix, Linux, biggest servers I'd ever seen at the time, because SQL servers with back then 128 gigs of RAM, which we'd never seen. This is 10 years ago now. And when I retired, I was the director of the college that I actually first went to. 16,000 students, 2,000 employees. Before I went to university, our local college. That was an adventure. And how government barely works, how much money they waste compared to private industry, like working at UPS, which was the Marine Corps. They called the Marine Corps the corporate world. My employees were union, which is insane. I'll put it this way. So I in between there, I also worked at a small, medium-sized business, kind of regional company. I had 40 employees, IT full-time employees under me, and they did the work of about 3 good ones in private industry. Most of them had no business being in IT. Literally, they even in IT support, desktop support, much less the help desk, they didn't know anything more than how to use a mouse, and they were supporting users. I took a lot of heat because I implemented a ticket system, and some of them were only showing like 1 or 2 tickets a week, and when we were trying to get them to do more work, they'd freak out, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's ridiculous. Okay, so what does the candle do? I'll get the candle now. Yeah, but this game is so fun to this day to play. And I don't know how long a full walkthrough this would take. But I'm guessing a couple hours you can beat this now. And it seems like that's nothing. But back then, man, it was like, it was crazy. Alright. I think that's good enough for now. Make sure I save. Alright. Catch you next time. If you like this, let me know.